Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Red. It is a new month. It is Sunday, the 1st of June. Hopefully, the weather is a little bit better than you are, because I'm Dave Davis. I am coming to you from a pretty gloomy and, well, it's chucking it down in Edinburgh. So hopefully it's a bit nicer wherever you are in the world. But we're not here to talk about the weather, ladies and gents. We're here to talk about everything LFC. There's a lot going on off the pitch. The season's ending. And it's right to say the season's ending because last night was the Champions League final. And we all watched, I'm sure many of you watched, PSG absolutely decimate Inter Milan. I don't really think there's a better way of putting it. It was an absolute hiding, wasn't it? And as soon as they wore that third kit, all bets were off. You knew what was going to happen, to be fair. We knew what's happened about 15, 20 minutes in. But the season has now officially ended and it moves on to other bits. But while we're talking about the Champions League, I'm going to take you back to the 1st of June, 2019. It's on the screen there. The Wanda Metropolitano. Where were you? Were you there when Liverpool beat Tottenham to get number 6? What a night, what an event that was. Do you remember how good it was? Where early on, Sadio Mane blasted the ball beautifully. I think someone will correct me if I'm wrong on this in the chat panel. Dembele, was it, if I'm wrong? It goes to VAR and a penalty given, which Mo Salah blasts right down the middle. It's not the best of games, is it, that night? If we're completely honest, it wasn't that entertaining at all. But no one cares where late on, Joel Matip heads it down and Divock scores in Spain and the Reds went insane. Yeah. We wouldn't mind number 7, would we? Especially after that PSG victory. I bet that's what you were all thinking, a bit like me. God, I don't even know where this year final or the next season's final, coming up is, to be honest. But we want to be there. Long way to go until then, isn't there? No doubt about it at all. And it's important to say now, probably the biggest thing of the summer starts, the transfer window. Well, transfer window number 1 is open. That's important to say. It opens from today. Transfer window 1 runs until Saturday, the 10th of June. A very weird time, 7 p.m. So there were no fax machines creaking in the building till the early hours. And I don't know, because someone might be able to tell me this. Does that mean things like that famous deal sheet are out now, I'm guessing? But the window is well underway. We're all waiting for news on certain players. No doubts about it at all. And to be honest, I get this. There's a little bit of, I don't know if worry's the right word, but everyone's waiting for some sort of Florian Wirtz thing or something to happen around this. I'm quite calm on this, but I'm sensing a lot of the fan base aren't. They want it done. There's a couple of reasons, and you can disagree completely on this, why I'm completely calm. Number 1, any journalist worth his coin or that you are aware of or the most famous, whatever label you want to apply, like a Romano, a Plettenberg, an Ornstein, has tweeted about this in depth. Some, like Romano, have still got it as his pin posts. They all, to a person, have that Florian Wirtz has told Bayer Leverkusen he wants to come to Liverpool. They all, to a person, have said that he's, well, the official line is Manchester City pulled out because of the financing and all that it involves. But we know that. So they're off the map. We know he's told, as reported, Bayern Munich and all the head honchos and the nest of vipers over there, that Liverpool is his preference and he wants to go there. So Bayern Munich have moved on. So then I'm asking if you're a bit worried about like this, who else is going to jump in? Now, I've seen quite a few say Real Madrid, they're the ones, they're the big worry now. You know, Xabi Alonso's there, he's old boss, he's going to follow, and that's part of the rush. Okay. Real Madrid operate in a specific way. They don't make big money moves without a clear strategy. And people are going to say, oh, that's wrong. It's not. It's just factual. You look at the way Florentino Perez operates. Florentino Perez has probably got 2 searches on Pornhub. Probably something like college ed dorm girls, number 1. And number 2, just behind it, is free transfers available for next summer. Because that's often how he looks, isn't it? That's the way Real have done their business. Does anyone honestly believe Real right now are in the position to ship out, 110 million or whatever it's going to be for Florian Wirtz? I don't. Not for one single second. And by the way, if that is the plan for them, if you genuinely do believe that, well, Michael Edwards has just had their pants down for, what was it, 10 million quid for Trent all in? So that's come out the kitty as well. Plus, there's talk, and we put it up on Daily Red yesterday, that Trent signing on fee is around 20 million euros as well. So that would also had to have come out the kitty. So I'm just not sort of stressed about this. I wouldn't let it, this might not be you, this isn't having a go at anyone. I just wouldn't let it ruin or dominate your thoughts this weekend. If we get some news, brilliant. If we don't, c'est la vie, eh? Also, as we mentioned yesterday, there's internationals. Florian Wirtz has got the Nations League semi-final, hasn't he, against Portugal on Wednesday. If they win that, or even if they don't, he's going to have a game on Sunday because the 3rd, 4th place playoff is just before the final. So in a week's time, he's still preparing and playing football. I suppose if Germany lose, that maybe could change things for the medical, but he's in that German camp. So the best we're really going to get is there we land. Here we go. Whatever you want to call it, isn't it? Or deal confirmed, an Ornstein bomb, but whatever you're looking for. But I would just say on this, let's not stress anyone's weekend at all by it. And it is important to mention, if we look at the normal AI content that we've got, there are some key themes. We're talking Konate and Lukeba, Luis Diaz. I never thought we'd be talking Gabby Agbon-Lahore, but we will. We'll be talking Milos Kerkez, and many other things are the main themes as this transfer window is open and underway. But for one that's not mentioned, I think this is important to just keep an eye on. I wouldn't be surprised if very soon there's real developments around Caoimhin Kelleher, because, as quite a few have announced this morning, Brentford are selling their goalkeeper, Mark Flecken. He will head to Bayer Leverkusen under Erik ten Hag. Dutchman under Dutchman, isn't it, in that regard? 10 million euros a medical is booked. So why are we talking about Mark Flecken? Because Brentford are now going to be without a number 1. We've got a good relationship with Brentford, haven't we, for Carvalho, for Sepp van der Berg. Brentford, as many reports are coming out over the last week or so, are in for Caoimhin Kelleher. Now that Flecken is set to move, I think we all expect a deal for Caoimhin Kelleher to Brentford to go through. There's no guarantee, there's no headline right now as we sit on it, but I think we know what to expect on this one. So yeah, I think Caoimhin heading out is inevitable. The one thing I did notice on the website today, I don't know if anyone's seen this, that first transfer window, which runs until the 10th of June, 7 p.m, the internationals are going to be playing havoc with it, aren't they? Internationals, and some of you will love internationals. I'm not a fan of them at all, but we've got a lot of players in action, especially competitive action, isn't it? Wednesday, Thursday, that you've got Diogo Jota for Portugal, Ibu for France, Wirtz for Germany, you could say as well. Look at these then. Curtis in the England squad. 4 are going with Holland. Frimpong, Gakpo, Gravenberch, Virgil. Alisson's away for a couple of qualifiers, and they're actual qualifiers. These are proper games. Yeah, World Cup qualifiers. The season is not over for our boys after a weary and tired campaign. Luis Diaz and Alexis McAllister have got a couple of competitive ones. Endo. Robbo's got friendly, so maybe he might get it. Same with Dominic Szoboszlai for Hungary. And that may link to another player we're going to talk about as well. Yeah, there's a real mix. And it'd be interesting to see because Harvey Elliott, Tyler Morton and Jarell Quansah, who all three with question marks against them, are in that camp ahead of the Euro under-21 finals. England looking to retain their crown there, aren't they? It's interesting as well that those three, Elliott, Morton and Quansah, are being mentioned because still a few reports, and Plettenberg mentioned it yesterday on Sky Germany, didn't he, that his understanding, rightly or wrongly, is that Liverpool are still being discussing a player going the other way in this Wirtz transfer. So we'll see if anything unfolds on that. But yeah, when you look at it, 20 away, a lot in competitive action. There's a lot of things that could throw this transfer window into a bit of turmoil, possibly. We'll have to see what develops. Luis Diaz chatter doesn't stop. We said yesterday that Al Nassr, there's various articles on this. They clearly are looking at Luis Diaz, a lot having that he's their priority target. Quite a few had that exclusive. We said it was Sam Maguire's originally, but now it does seem that there's almost an expectation, it's fair to say, they're going to be in the mix for Luis Diaz. But are they? Because everyone will know Pipe Sierra, well-known journalist, that he kind of broke it to the Liverpool move, donating from Porto, has a lot on Luis Diaz. Now, he did a show the other night, and he actually mentioned that his understanding is Luis Diaz, as he's mentioned before, so this isn't brand new, is set to sit down at the end of the season and discuss a new contract with Liverpool. Pipe does mention Barcelona. Pipe does mention, yes, there's interest from Saudi Arabia, but it doubles up almost, if you want to put it that way, on what he said, that Luis Diaz will discuss a new contract. Now, there's nothing coming out from the UK side around this at all. Absolutely nothing. Speaking to journos, analysts, no one's got anything. There's no sign that Liverpool are looking to sit down and negotiate a new deal with Luis Diaz. So, yeah, is this maybe, I don't know what you call it, I say PR is probably the wrong phrase, but is this mainly a step in the process? I said it yesterday, and I can't change my mind. This is honestly how I see it. Luis Diaz, I believe, wants two things. He wants to go to Barcelona, or he wants to stay at Liverpool with an improved contract. I actually genuinely believe that Saudi Arabia is the third of those choices for him. He's still, a top player. You've seen the season he's had just gone. Liverpool's arguably second most important forward, but scored some big goals, had a strong end to the season, and posted Mane-esque numbers, it's fair to say. He's also 28. He's got 2 years left to go. And it's well known that Luis Diaz is not happy that he is pretty much the only forward in that period that hasn't had a wage boost. If you look at the likes of, for typical forwards under Michael Edwards, Bobby, Mane, Salah, Jota, all got a wage bump by this time. Diaz is the exception. So he's still on that original deal that he signed in for. So he wants a wage bump. So that's his option number two. Barcelona. I mean, the stories are ramping up, aren't they? Saying that they will pay money for him. If you've clocked that on a few of the papers this morning. Not Marcus Rashford, funnily enough. But they will put the money down for Luis Diaz. That, again, just comes down to how many times are we going to tell Barcelona to put up or shut up type of thing? Just I just don't see it. So then this is what I honestly believe will happen. I think Luis Diaz gets his third choice because Liverpool won't offer a new contract, especially because I think, to be honest, and people don't like this, and I get why people have a penchant for Luis Diaz. His tune's a banger to start with, but they're not going to offer him a new deal because they probably want the Saudi money. That's honestly what I believe. Barcelona can't, or just probably can't put up the money that's going to be needed or match what Saudi Arabia are going to put on the table. Al Nassr, by all accounts. So then Luis Diaz is probably looking at it and going, do I stay at Liverpool another year on the same wages where I'm not happy? Or do I go and take the bag? And the bag will be huge. Let's not pretend. The bag will probably be like quadrupling his wages. It just all points to that. So I am fully expecting Luis Diaz to get an offer from Saudi. Liverpool made an offer by Saudi, Al Nassr, and then this to unfold. Do I honestly believe, I'm not trying to doubt, but do I believe that there will be a renewal talks? Could be wrong, but no. I honestly don't. We'll see what develops on this one. While the transfer window's open, and I hate this one, I hate this being talked about, but as it says there on the screen, PSG enters the race for Konate as Reds assess Bundesliga defender. Ibu's talked about his contract, his agent's talking. I just want to get that wrapped up. That is a big plus for me if we renew him. If we actually lose Ibu, I am a little concerned for this season because I don't think you want to be losing your first choice right back and first choice right-sided centre back. I don't think that goes well into a new season. You don't want to be embedding half of a back four and keeping the levels the same. So that's the first thing. People will disagree with this as well. If we get Wirtz and all this, I'm honestly, and I get you're going to be shouting in the chat panel saying, no, you've got to sell him, like there's a line in the sand. And I get that. I understand that argument fully. But I'm not against letting him run it down. I genuinely am not. You will disagree with this, some of you, and that's fine. But imagine, would you do the deal now? If you said you keep Ibu for a year, you win a trophy, one of the big ones, which I think he's key to doing personally. Some of you will disagree with that as well. So I'm just really mixed on this. It'd be easy if he just did a renewal. But anyway, the Bundesliga defender in question, because this comes from Liverpool.com, a defender that's linked with us time and time again. Castello Lukeba. 22 years old, French international, Red Bull Leipzig, a club that we know very well. A lot of experience for a 22-year-old. And even if you just look this season across the Bundesliga and Champions League, played nearly 2,000 minutes. Played against us, didn't he? In the Champions League, left-sided central defender. Which people will say, well, Ibu's right-sided, but obviously could Virgil move across? You'd have to debate that, but that's not really the time for it now. If you look at his FB ref profile, it's interesting for a few things. And if we look at what he's best at, I don't know if you want your centre-back to be successful take-ons 99th percentile, but he does bring the ball out well, so, And progressive passes received, progressive carries, 88th percentile, yeah. Passes attempted, 87th, so he does move the ball. Yeah, progressive passes, over 4.5 a game, 80th percentile there as well. And he does beat Ibu on that. So, with Trent going, if it was to be Lukeba, I'm not convinced myself, someone who could progress it. There are things to like. He's quick as well. I'm not going to go into too much because if you want to look into it, you can see the Bundesliga stats. And me and Bart's will be running Lukeba on transfer market metrics next week as well. But if you overlay them with Lukeba being the blue, Ibu being the right, the defensive metrics are quite similar. Now, people are going to look at that one and say, hold on, Ariel's won. And that's always the one concern about losing Ibu, and Lukeba's not a defensive monster like he is. I tell you what, it's just worth calling out. Look at his defensive aerial duel success this season. 66.7. That's really good. That's a big increase as well. If you look at his average over since Lyon and Red Bull, so it's about 53, 54. But now it's 66.7. People will look and say, well, hold on, that's less 90s, and I understand that. But that is a more than respectable. That's where we're looking for in our centre-half. Naturally, Virgil and Konate, I understand, are a little bit higher. But it's better than his average. So just keep that in mind. If there is a chance that Liverpool do look to sell Ibu, I wouldn't rule out Lukeba completely. And I think the big thing as well is he's got a deal there to 2029. There is an apparent release clause, but it's high. There's also been other names in the mix. Sam Maguire had that exclusivity around Thomas Arroyo, who isn't quite as good in the air, but very quick, can play right back as well. So I would suspect Lukeba has definitely been looked at. I wouldn't put money that this will happen. I tell you what I would give money for. Ibu to just sign a new deal. It would be nice, wouldn't it, in all honesty? We'll see if anything develops on that. Dear God. Gabby Agbonlahor. I swear TalkSport have this policy where you have to prove your IQ is below a certain level to get the job because they need rent-a-gobs, don't they? The nature of what they do. But this one, Gabby Agbonlahor questions Liverpool for letting Trent Alexander-Arnold go. And if anyone's seen this, Agbonlahor actually, he asked a few questions on it. There was a thing on TalkSport, which I'm definitely not going to play on this channel, by the way. But he said specifically, I would have liked to have seen them stood up to Real Madrid. I'd have liked to have seen them gone, no, we're not letting him go. You can whistle. He didn't use that exact word, but not a chance, you know. And then the presenter actually asked him about finance. He goes, yeah, I get that, but it sends a message to the rest of football. Sends a message to the rest of football what? That Liverpool is stupid. That it isn't an absolute masterclass. That Liverpool at one stage had Real Madrid trying to convince us to let him go on a free. That Liverpool at another stage had Real Madrid offering to pay €1 million, i.e. about 850 grand. To have got them to a place where with the fee they'll pay and the wages they'll save, it'll be 10 million quid, considering they only offered 20, wasn't it, in January, is an absolute masterstroke by Edwards. And if you've got any doubt over that, Liverpool currently on one hand, run by Michael Edwards, Hughes and all those people, or Gabby Agbonlahor having a say in Liverpool's business. One's great, one we're excited by. We're hoping they do the business this summer. One is the stuff of pure nightmares, isn't it? Gabby. So that's the other story. You can have a full read of his quotes there in the article. This one just keeps dragging, doesn't it, a little bit? I'm hoping we see an acceleration, if you want to call it that, next week. But Fabrizio Romano saying that the Kerkez deal is inching closer. And he actually said, did an article for Hungarian TV, a channel, I don't know which one, apologies. But we actually said, again, I don't know what will happen. We'll have to see. There's a lot of rumours around it. Yeah, let's be honest. There's a lot of rumours, Milos, because you love every Liverpool social media post, don't you? Be it on Instagram from a player, whatever. You've commented on certain Instagram posts as well. So that's why there's rumours. But I warmed to him somewhat. He had a strong end to the season. And I do think under Arne Slot, it wouldn't have been my first choice. I can't be hypocritical on that. It would have been Carreras. I wouldn't have minded Nori still, I have to be honest as well. But you do feel it's going to be Kerkez. You do expect there to be movement next week. We'll have to see on that. But when you look at his FB ref stats as well, and he's overlaying Robbo, Kerkez in blue, Robbo in red, I mean, he does dominate on a lot of the defensive side, doesn't he? There. Yes, Robbo might be a bit high, but he's in a better team. That's no disrespect in the style that Bournemouth play. But the stuff we like about Kerkez, doesn't get injured. Proper road runner and quick. Bombs up and down that wing all day. Also third in the Premier League for getting the ball into the box. That's not just to the byline and across like a 1970s winger, but that is important, I believe, in Liverpool's setup. And you can see here, against other fullbacks, 85th percentile for progressive carries, just shy of 3 a game. 78th for interceptions, which we like as well. 74th for progressive passes received. And it's interesting, this style that a lot of commented on, we've seen at the end of the season, almost dropping one of the midfielders back to play almost a back three and splitting Konate and Van Dijk on the left and right side with someone like a Gravenberch right bang in between them. And then the fullbacks have pushed on, haven't they, to try and get them higher, which does make you think, is that part of the plan on how they will want to use Frimpong or Bradley and Kerkez next season. I could be wrong, but I would be very surprised if there's not news and developments on this in the next week or so in transfer window 1. And part of that reason is, if you look at the LFC article out there, Dominic Szoboszlai's Hungary, Milos Kerkez's Hungary have 2 friendly matches. Sweden on the Friday and Azerbaijan on the 10th. So it's friendlies. He can easily be released and get things done, couldn't he? There's not as much clamour, difficulty, if you want to call it that. So those are the big headlines for today. Might be a quiet one. We will see what develops. In terms of the AI content we've got for you, as ever, ladies and gents, coming out the wazoo. With all the talk around Gakpo and Diaz, me and Bart's, that's out for you now. We had a look at what they bring, what we could be losing, what's there for you. Hugo Ekitike, full analysis with obviously everything that's going on and the stories around him. Julian Alvarez gets a mention and a few others. So that's out. Celebrations from the parade, part 2, part 3, they're out at the same time as well. Even this coming week, we know we've got, I'm not even going to tell you, treble media matters. You know, one of them will be David Lynch. You'll have to have a look and see who the others are. But we have got content coming out the whole for you, ladies and gents. It's going to be a busy period, isn't it? Because transfer window 1 is upon us. It's not quite that wanky sky clock, but as is shown on the official Premier League site right now, 9 days we're ticking, aren't we? We will see anyway. But there we go, ladies and gents. Bit of an issue with the chat panel, so sorry for not displaying that at all either. But on Sunday, the 1st of June, that was another Daily Red